I live with my mom. I have been studying your teachings for more than a year. I'm an optimistic, loving, wonderful, passionate person, excited about life, creating wonderful things, having wonderful, great experiences. My mom, who's in my life very much, is not feeling so well. Doesn't think too highly of herself, is having a tough time. Sometimes it's kind of tough for me too. Sometimes it's kind of tough for me to share my joy, my passion with her. And sometimes I leave my vortex and go over there to try to get her and bring her in. And sometimes I get lost in that. Sometimes I wake up and go, look at what I'm doing. Let me get back to where I want to be and feel good. And look at all the great things that are going on for me. But sometimes I get lost and sometimes I stay there. Yeah. Sometimes it's tough.
The most significant thing, the law-based thing that we want to say is, in any moment in time when you're rendezvousing with another, the one who's been focused with the most intensity on a vibrational pattern will sort of dominate the experience. But remember, we said one who's connected to the stream, one who's in alignment with who you really are, is really influential, millions of times more powerful than one who is not. So someone out of the vortex does not even compare in terms of vibration acuity to someone who is. But the question is your focus. In other words, it's easy for someone who is often focused in alignment with source to focus out of alignment. So we're really not even talking about the competition of I'm out of the vortex and I'm winning the energy struggle, and I'm in the vortex and I'm winning the energy struggle. It's not even about that. It's about you and what you are giving your attention to. And you just cannot give your attention to the things that you just verbalized just now without establishing a grid. In fact, this conversation is really helpful to so many, and it is the reason that we were eager to allow you to continue your conversation. But a really good teacher who is really wanting to assist you would stop you in the first words of that and just ask simply, what grid are you establishing? Because as you focus upon someone not having a good time, someone not having good self-esteem, someone not feeling good, or someone really not enjoying you when you are, or someone not enjoying you when you are to the point that you then join them in your out of the vortex. In other words, to be on the same wavelength with someone, you've got to go where they are. And out of your appreciation for your mother, out of your respect for her, out of your wanting to be there for her, sometimes you'll sacrifice your alignment with source in order to be there. So many people sacrifice their alignment with the energy that creates worlds, with the source within them, with that which man calls God. They sacrifice their alignment with that in order to be there for someone, or in order to not be criticized by someone. So once you've got everything in place, in other words, we're not saying to you that you can't be there for your mother and be in alignment just because she's out of alignment. You can. She may not be enjoying the conversation so much. No one likes to hear, you create your own reality when things are not going well. But here is something that will really, really work for you. Let's back up just a little bit. Very often someone will say, I want to feel good, and I often do, until I look at you doing that thing that you're doing, which is keeping me from being in alignment. So you need to stop doing that thing you're doing so that I can be in alignment, which is totally giving over your power to them because you can't control them. And they want to feel better. Don't you think they would feel better if they could? They're not doing it on purpose, you see. And so then as you begin to understand that you have the ability to stay in alignment no matter what they are doing, that you have the ability, but you got to practice it when they're not there. You got to practice it when it's easy. If you will establish your grid before you walk into that situation, then it's easier for you to maintain it. And here is a specific key that will work nearly every time. Go general. In other words, if you're thinking general thoughts about this wonderful woman, this woman who gave birth to you, this woman who cares more about you than life itself. This woman who is at the core so soft and wonderful. This woman who has had a wonderful life and many things that she has felt very good about. In other words, you can be as specific as you are able to be and still feel good. But these are the thoughts that you want to practice. So now what happens is you walk in, and no matter where she is, you are in complete alignment with your grid, your core and with hers. And the probability of her joining you there is now much greater than ever before. But you can't engage on that other level. That's where people make their first mistake. You go out of the vortex and engage, recognize that you don't feel good, and then try to do something about it. So what are we saying? This is really an important conversation. This is our favorite thing that we've ever said to anyone ever. Ever, 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 ever. Don't try to fill your own grid in. That wasn't it. Our favorite thing that we've ever said ever is, when you align with the energy and the inspiration is pouring forth from you, the probability of them coming into alignment with you is much greater because you've practiced the vibration in advance. Now here's what we're getting at. This is the statement that we so want you to take away from this gathering. If you will decide that you are going to create your own reality in advance, not in the middle of an out of the vortex moment. And you know, almost all of you are attempting to do the most of your creating in an out of the vortex moment. You wait till something goes wrong and then you say, oh, give me a process. I got to do something. I got to get back into alignment. I got to do something. But it's too late. It's like you've jumped out of an airplane. It's at 50,000 feet. You have no parachute. What do I do? What do I do? Just give it a minute. It'll be over soon. That's what happens. And we really mean that. In other words, just ride it out. Don't try to fix it, because you'll do more damage. And by more damage, that's not the word that we really want Esther to find. You'll do more practicing of a vibration that's going to come back and bite you in the... We don't want her to say that either. If you just chill. Just let it play out. Don't fight it. Just let it play out. Don't try to make it a teaching moment. Don't try to make it the moment that you're valiant. Just let it happen, because the grid's already filling in. So that's what we're saying. That's what we're saying. You got a grid going and it's filling in. Just live with it. But set an intention to do better grid work. Better grid work later. We've been calling that pre-paving for years. If you'll do your grid work in advance, you can be thinking about all kinds of things that make you feel good. You gave us a long list of them that don't have anything to do with what's going on with your mother. You're establishing a wonderful grid, you see. And now, when you're not with her, when you're lying in your own bed or thinking about, you're practicing the grid about your mother and about her well-being and about how everything is unfolding just fine. As you practice that vibrational alignment, it will be much easier for her to come into alignment with that with you, you see. Yes. Ooh. We are so happy to have had this conversation. Do your work in advance. We call it pre-paving. Do your grid work in advance, and don't try to fill your own grid in. And as the grid is filling in, just accept it. Yes. Just accept it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Really good.